And it looks like we're actually just about to be going. So it looks like Thomas might end up going for wheel mix. Actually, not. Neither are going for wheel mix. 1-1. It makes sense because even if you can do it, it's sort of an inconsistent trick, and it saves time, but you also lose a lot of time if you don't hit it. Toddman getting hit slightly. Looks like Thomas is getting a bit of a small lead here on this first stage. You notice Thomas doing a lot of small jumps. These small jumps can actually save a bit of time, slightly faster than just straight up walking. And Thomas finishing around 39 mark on the fade outs, and looks like Todd is just about like a second behind. So close race so far. For World 1, assuming you're not doing that wheel mix early on, typically the strategy is just going powerless, avoiding the enemies, just going through as fast as you can. If you would do the wheel mix, then you have that for the first half. We'll be going powerless until a bit later in World 1, where we'll be picking up burning and using that to save quite a bit of time. Thomas picking up some time, doing some jumps over those enemies, both of them doing the double star strategy to take care of the Poppy Bro real quick. Nice jump from Todd, jumping over that Poppy on the apple. Very sort of a tight timing, but it saves a bit of time. He doesn't get hits. So a few seconds behind total, but still a close race. Going into 1-3, Thomas right now. So he's about to pick up Burning. Burning's a great movement ability because it gives you a good boost of horizontal speed, and it gives you some invulnerability while you do it, so you can burst right through those enemies. Pretty good time for Thomas right now. Todd also grabbing Burning just behind him. Still really close race. You typically won't see a massive divide in the times of players until about like World 2 or even World 3 butter building, as the difficulty starts to ramp up and there's more variety in the strategies. Thomas going to be going into 1-4 right now, as Todd barely dodging a few of those fireballs. Thomas doing the recoil strats with Burning to get the KO on Mr. Frosty. And Todd just behind him right now. Okay, Thomas going through the tree, making good time. Todd also doing the recoil strats, a bit slower it seems like, but he didn't get hit, and honestly, not getting hit, playing a bit safer, pretty good. Same time. Getting through that room all right, it seems like. Oh, getting hit by the enemy right by the door. It kind of just camps there, and sometimes he'll move out of the way, and sometimes you'll have to hit him. Kind of like an RNG thing. Some of the RNG in this game really just comes from enemy patterns and if they're favorable or not. Unfortunately, Todd getting hit a few times going through the tree. Some of those enemies can be a bit frustrating, as Thomas is able to clear up with Wispy and is going to be moving on to World 2 shortly. And Thomas finishing up, or Todd finishing up with 1-4, going to be also going on to Wispy. Burning Wispy is not necessarily the fastest strat, but having Burning for 2-1, as you can see, Thomas like cruising through this world is very, very quick, which is the reason why we grab Burning. We'll keep it for 2-1 before we do grab Wheel in 2-2, as well as the double star strat. So Todd finishing up with Wispy, getting a time beneath 4 minutes, so pretty good. As Thomas moving on to 2-2, still is Burning, but won't for long. You'll see there's another double star boss strat. Ooh, unfortunately losing Burning, but able to pick it back up. It's important that you have some sort of power up for this double star strat. Ooh, Todd unfortunately taking the death. He had 1 HP. You get 4 HP total from 2 drinks in 2-2. Looks like Thomas able to get that double star strat, KOing Wheel and grabbing Wheelie. So this is the first time we have Wheel in this race. Todd's grabbing the Tornado backup. Wheel's another really great ability because of how fast you go. Unfortunately, compared to Amazing Mirror, you can't jump, so it's a bit more limited, but still really great for these levels where there's a lot of just horizontal and not a lot of platforming, compared to like butter building where there's a lot of platforms. Todd's just entering 2-2, using Tornado right now. Also going to be going for the double star strat, as Thomas is going to keep Wheel. Just it's a bit tricky to use Wheel in this part of the level, but it can save some time. A few sections, like right there, he goes right over the water with it. He's going to go through this fish section, opting to KO one of them, playing a bit safe so he doesn't get hits. Oh, unfortunately, Todd missing the double star grab. Going to grab Spark and go for that backup, as Thomas is entering the first Meta Knight arena. So Todd is able to quickly kill the Wheel with Spark, and he's going to use that as well. Thomas is going for the arena. So these arena Meta Knight fights, they're all scripted, like the patterns are the exact same. So it's just really memorizing them and getting like the fastest pattern that you possibly can. So Todd finishing up 2-2, as Thomas finishing up 2-3. Going to go on to 2-4. 2-4 is a pretty basic stage, honestly. You fight TikTok, but not much goes on. Todd enters 2-3. 2-3 is probably one of the first like really difficult levels in Nightmare and Dreamland, because you have the Meta Knight arena, but you also have some tight platforming and there's a lot of areas to get hit if you're not careful in this section. So he goes to the water section, no problem. Thomas grabbing Spark is the best ability to use for TikTok. You can get him out in just 4 hits. Todd, losing Wheel, but not really important at this point. He's about to enter the Meta Knight arena, as Thomas still cruising through 2-4. So 2-4 is a pretty basic stage. Not a whole lot happens. Todd's taking a bit of a hit, just going through this Meta Knight arena right now, as Thomas finishing up 2-4, Todd just about to finish up 2-3. So about a level gap between them. I'd say about maybe a minute or so lead for Thomas. So as Todd goes up to 2-4, Thomas is going to be going through to 2-5, last regular level in Ice Cream Island. Gonna grab Wheel again. Don't keep it for very long, but it does help for these next 2 rooms to just quickly get by them, and then we're going to grab High Jump, which we'll be using for quite a bit of the next part of this run. So doing some Wheel jumps, as I mentioned, because in Kirby Nightmare and Dreamland, you can't jump with Wheel. Timing those Wheel jumps is really important. It's going to ditch that and grab High Jump, which is useful. Todd taking care of TikTok has Spark right now. Spark's also helpful when you have it, just because you can put up a barrier around yourself to dodge some enemies in sort of a pinch. As looks like Thomas about to be going into Paint Roller, one of probably the more annoying bosses in this game. So the more you do more damage to Paint Roller if you're closer to him with High Jump, but then you also need to be mindful not to get hit. And if you do get hit, you'll probably miss a cycle, and it can cost you potentially 8 to 10 seconds. Kind of just a frustrating boss, but looks like he's able to get through there without a problem, entering Butter Building, as Todd is about to enter, or Todd's starting up with 2-5. Ooh, good movement on Todd's end, actually. Just dodging. Ooh, gets hit right there, but he was able to really dodge those cannons very well. I haven't actually seen that before. That was really nice. Grabbing Wheel, you got to be careful right there to not accidentally grab 2 wheels and get a mix, but he's going to grab Wheel and keep going here, as Thomas able to take down TikTok and going with High Jump. You're going to see High Jump for almost the entirety of Butter Building, because it's compared to a lot of the levels in Kirby, Nightmare, and Dreamland. Todd losing the Wheel, but it's not going to matter. He's going to grab High Jump in a second. Compared to a lot of other levels in Nightmare and Dreamland, Butter Building is very, very vertically oriented, so High Jump being a very fast ability, in a vertical sense, going up and down. Definitely a really good ability. You're going to see High Jump be used for almost the entirety of this world. It's also a pretty good ability at dealing with bosses overall, because it can be pretty powerful when you're up close. So Thomas cruising through, as Todd about to go into Paint Roller. We'll see how he can handle this. Is he able to get a good fight? Looks like Thomas accidentally paused there for a second. So he gets the first damage. Oh, fortunately he gets hit, and that's what I mentioned earlier. It's you need to get close to Paint Roller in order to damage it quickly and to get a 1-cycle fight. But if you are close, you also have stronger risk of taking damage. You can also do High Jump cancels, where if you press B a second time, you can sort of shorten the length of your High Jump, which can be fast. You'll see that in a lot of situations. Thomas dealing with Bugsy 3-2 is honestly probably one of the more difficult stages in this game. A lot can go wrong, and that Bugsy fight in particular can be really frustrating because if you do get hit, his grabs, essentially their animations take a while, so you lose a lot of time. Thomas only at 2 health right now, so it's a bit tight. Maybe you can't really soft reset too many areas in butter building because you need to keep high jump. So he's going into the TikTok fight, just going to try to space around his attacks. Currently in 3-1 as Thomas goes 3-3. 3-3 is a pretty basic stage. I mean, for a casual player, it's a maze, but once you speedrun, you know the exact layout. You're able to get through it in about 30 seconds, very, very quickly. Looks like Todd, with only 1 health, he's able to get 2 more right here of this drink as a bit of a backup, thankfully. So he's not going to be quite at death range, because 3-2 is a very, it's a tricky stage. So if you don't want to be too low on health, because if you take a death, say, during Bugsy, you lose a lot of time, and losing high jumps pretty rough. So Todd, about to go to 3-2, a difficult stage. Thomas is going to be going to the 3-4 arena right now. So similar to the other arenas, all the enemy patterns are scripted. It looks like he's going to lose high jump, but keep it. You want to keep high jump because, again, it's great for the other levels, and losing it again, unfortunately. High jump's great for the other levels in butter building, so keeping it is pretty important. There is a backup. There's a copy room where you can grab it if you do lose. Todd, I think I missed it on Todd's screen. I think he had lost high jump. I completely missed that. I'm trying to focus on 2 screens at once. So unfortunately, that will cost him some time. Actually, I guess it won't cost him too much because right here you just grab a sword. Use that for Bugsy. Although he does lose it, unfortunately. Is he going to go back and get it? Or is he just going to... Looks like he's just going to keep going with wheel for now. Maybe grab the freeze. As Thomas, yeah, he's going to grab our ice, and he's going to use that for Bugsy. Not a bad backup. A bit slower than sword, but it's not too much slower as long as he doesn't get hit. Thomas is going to keep high jump as he goes into 3-6, I believe. That fight with the bonkers, keeping with high jump. So Todd's actually got backdrop. Looks like he grabbed that from the Bugsy fight as he's going to keep going through 3-2. So getting through that stage, it's a very difficult stage, honestly. I think 3-2 is, at least for me personally, it's probably the most difficult stage in butter building. It can make or break a lot of runs and can be a pretty reset-prone area. So good that he's through that. 3-3 is a bit more of a breather, honestly. He grabs sword, but I think he's probably going to toss that for high jump in just a second. Actually, no, he doesn't grab high jump. So maybe he'll grab the backup later. I'm not sure what Todd's strategy is, but maybe he'll grab high jump in from the copy room, or he'll just go... high jump's not super important for 2-3, but for the other levels in butter building, it definitely is. Thomas getting close to the just finish up with 3-6, so he's going to move on to Sun and Moon. One of the easier boss fights, honestly. Kind of similar to Paint Roller. You want to get close to damage them really quickly and to do the high jump cancels. But, guessing wrong. So... Unfortunately, it's tough to... It's like a 50-50 of which of the bosses will fight you first, but it always seems like whatever one you don't go to, unfortunately getting hit, so we're going to have to quickly grab that and finish off the Moon here, and able to finish off that boss fight as Todd about to enter the 3-4 arena. So he doesn't have a high jump, so at the very least, he'll be able to do this fight a bit more straightforward. He won't have to balance, taking out all the Meta Knight minions, as well as keeping high jump, which is pretty difficult to do, honestly. Taking a few hits here as Thomas keeping high jump going into 4-1. You'll see it, in this room right here, you blitz past it completely with high jump because you're able to go right up there. Looks like he's going to keep high jump. There's another strategy for 4-1 involving using UFO. It's something I use because it's a bit easier. High jump can be a bit tricky in this room, but he's going to stick with it. He's a pretty top runner. I think he's like top 10 on the leaderboard, as I mentioned. So using high jump to get through there. Unfortunately, taking a hit there, but it doesn't really matter too much. Is he going to go? He's going to go for the wheel mix. Oh, unfortunately, he does miss it. That wheel mix is pretty new, actually. It saves about 4 seconds, but it's pretty difficult to hit. But cool for Thomas for going and at least attempting it. As Todd, with high jump now in 3-5, about to go into the bonkers fight. Thomas grabbing Tornado. So Tornado you use at the beginning of 3-2 allows you to get through these rooms pretty quickly, and then you toss it later as you grab Spark for the double Poppy fight. Taking a hit there as Todd almost done with Bonkers. Needs probably one more hit, and he's good. getting those blocks right there, and about to go into the last level of butter building as Thomas working through, gets that quick jump over the poppy, very tight spacing, but good on him. Gonna grab Spark here for this double poppy fight. As Todd about to enter 3-6, pretty fun stage, honestly. Bit of a longer one too. One of those dark rooms where you can't see as well. Unfortunately, gets hit by the crash enemy and loses high jump. Yeah, those crash enemies with high jump, it's a bit tricky to be able to deal with because there's a lot of lag, or not lag. There's like a long animation if you get hit by them, as Kirby's kind of burnt to a crisp. Thomas keeping Spark for 3-3. Pretty quick level, honestly. You got this blimp section at the beginning, and then you grab a star, and you're on to the next one. Gonna grab high jump likely here, as it speeds up the very ending of 3-3 just a bit, but this one section in the ship is a bit tricky. There's a lot of enemies and a lot of tight spacing. Unfortunately getting hit, so we will lose high jump. Yeah, it's pretty difficult to keep that and use high jump through this room. See, in this room, the high jump would have saved him some time, but again, trying to keep it through that tight section in the ship it's a bit tricky. Also, I noticed that, yeah, the screens are big right now. Unfortunately, I'm not sure if there's anything we can do about that right now. I'm just doing commentary, so I can't do anything myself, as far as I know. Todd wrapping up 3-6, so about to go into... Oh, nice. Thomas getting that wheel mix. I don't even know if I've seen the wheel mix. I don't think I've actually seen the setup before for that, because I don't really use wheel mixes in my run. But Thomas getting that wheel mix, and it's going to save him quite a bit of time. Typically you would grab wheel right there, but that does allow you to get through those first two rooms a bit faster. Todd getting a pretty clean fight for the Sun and Moon is going to also be moving on to level 4 Grape Garden, as Thomas about to go into the Fan fight, going to grab Spark for that. Fan kind of an annoying enemy because yeah, when he grabs you, his animations are very long. Looks like no problems there, and going to grab Throw. Throw is great for the next in the next level. There's another Meta Knight arena, and it allows you to deal with it faster. A really big thing about Kirby Nightmare and Dreamland, I came from Amazing Mirror, is that there's a lot of power cycling. You'll regularly grab multiple power-ups through a level. Todd, you're actually going for the UFO strategy, as I mentioned earlier. A bit safer, a bit more consistent than the high jump strategy, but it's not that much slower. So especially in a race setting, if you're not comfortable with that harder strat. Unfortunately, getting hit by the Gordo, I'm getting a bad power, and unfortunately taking a death right there. Thankfully, you won't lose him too much time because he's right at the beginning of the level, or right at the beginning of that room. Still unfortunate, though. Thomas entering the Meta Knight arena with Throw, and you're going to see allows him to deal with the enemies a lot faster, because typically their attacks can block the stars, but with Throw there's more impact and you're able to take them out quickly. Oh, unfortunately getting blocked by the ball and chain on that enemy. Able to get through there, taking a few hits though. Going to grab Burning. This is going to allow him to save some time in this remainder of 4-5. Todd grabbing Tornado as he goes into 4-2, using it for this. Oh, unfortunately getting hit by the Spark. It's ideal to get into that middle of that little room right there. And Spark, like Burning, is one of those enemies that if you get hit by him, there's like a pretty long animation. Todd only at 2 health. Same with Thomas, actually. So he's going to have to be careful. There is now he's at 1 health. There is a drink in the next room, which will allow him to get back up to 3 health, but he will have to be careful if he doesn't want to take a death right here. Taking out that Poppy, as Thomas currently in 4-6, the last level of Grape Garden. Is he going to be able to get through the spike? Oh, barely misses it. That's really unfortunate. Yeah, the timing to make that jump is pretty strict, unfortunately, but at least he is back at full health, so he can sort of go full speed again. Thomas with Sword right now, use it to just clear some of these enemies a bit faster in 4-6, as he's going to approach the Krakow fight soon. Todd using Spark to deal with these double poppies. It's pretty important this is a really slow fight if you go powerless, so grabbing Spark right there saves a lot of time. Although it's kind of annoying, their patterns are a bit inconsistent at times, those poppies. So it's just kind of, a bit of RNG and working with what the patterns give you. Thomas going to be going into Krakow fight now. So the first half of this fight, you're just sort of really quickly jumping up these areas with high jump, using those high jump cancels to save a bit of time and reduce some of the end lag of the jumps. And then the actual Krakow fight, which thankfully isn't too difficult. And if you do lose high jump by accident, Krakow does drop some more enemies, which is unfortunately getting hit right there. So we're going to lose a bit of time as Todd entering the ship part in Nightmare Treatment. He's only got 1 health and no extra lives right now. There is another set of health and a drink right there. Can he grab it? Just missed it, and he got it. Okay, so that's great, because had he died right there and gone to game over, he would have gone right back to the very beginning of the level, which definitely would have lost him quite a bit of time. Maybe potentially he'll soft reset to get some health back. We'll see. Thomas going into 5-1. 5-1's a pretty basic stage. You use a shortcut right here and grab stone, which allows you to drop down extra fast. Yep, so yeah, 5-1's a pretty basic stage, not much happens. Todd grabbing ball for 4, I believe. Unfortunately, getting kind of caught on some of the trees, just bouncing all over the place. Ball is it's a really hard ability. Like, it's one of the most important abilities for Kirby Nightmare and Dreamland speedrunning, because it can be useful for movement in some places, as well as it's really powerful. So you use it in a lot of boss fights. Thomas going to 5-2. Not too much happens here. There is a bonkers fight, which we'll use ball for. Thankfully, compared to the bonkers fight in like 7-2, it only takes 2 hits to knock him out. Todd, unfortunately, losing wheel right there, and it's gonna he's gonna grab it back, but now the path he has to take is sort of blocked by the water's fallen there, or the blocks have fallen, so he can't go through there as quite as quickly. He enters the fan fight now. Gonna grab Spark. It looked almost like he was trying to do a double star strat there, or maybe it's just the star floating around. So, seeing 2 boss battles right now. And then Todd also going to be grabbing throw. Thomas at 1 health, but just about to finish 5-2. Move into 5-3. Yoga Yard's a pretty fun stage overall. So Thomas is going to soft reset there to get some health back. It only costs about 2 seconds, but putting you back up at full health, definitely helpful to, it's safe and not having like a random death, which could cost way more time. Going to grab high jump here, use high jump for the first 2 rooms, and then you're going to grab wheel. Todd, I think he lost throw. He's going to be going through with Candy right now, as Thomas grabs wheel here, and he's going to use wheel for this whole section of the game is really just designed with wheel in mind, so he's going to be able to get through there pretty quickly as long as he doesn't accidentally fall on the spikes. Todd in the next Meta Knight arena, getting hit there, but he had some good patterns early on. As he finishes off, and great, and he's moving on. And then good wheel movement there by Thomas from this little spike drop there. So he's going to keep wheel going into the next level. Todd grabbing burning, which is great. Unfortunately, losing right there. Burning is pretty important. Unfortunately, getting hit again. There's a lot of Birdos, I don't know if Birdo is the name, but a lot of enemies that just jump from the top of the screen. You can't really see them, so unless you play the game a lot, you're not familiar with the pattern. Unfortunately, Todd also taking a death right there. Thankfully, not going to be sent back far at all, so not much of a time loss, as he's going to grab burning again and just go through this sort of shortcut section where you take a bit of damage, unfortunately, but it does allow you to get through this maze area quite a bit faster. Thomas on the next Meta Knight arena. Quickly, actually. Very nice. And now he's going to grab ball. Ball is useful unfortunately, Tom's kind of getting trolled right there. That ball enemy can do some weird stuff. It can get stuck in that little thing, or it can just jump off the edge and you lose it, which can be unfortunate too. He's going to grab ball because there's a section in not this room, but he's going to use this little shortcut to get up faster. So right here, you have to drop while using ball as you get down there way faster, kind of similar to stone in 5-1. Todd's going to grab sword here as he goes into the TikTok fights. 4 health, not too bad. There's a bit of health at the end of the stage. Doing some reverse cuts. Look at that. This looks like Thomas going on to 5-5. You fight the Fire Lion in this one. And then on to Hammernick shortly. Todd going through one of the dark rooms of sword allows him to cut through the enemies a bit faster. So Actually, Todd not going to grab the health, and he's going to keep sword, so he can grab high jump in the Krakow fights. He's actually going to soft reset, so that makes sense. He opted not to get health or grab high jump because he's going to soft reset anyways, get that health back, and get high jump here anyway. So smart playing by Todd. Keep playing it safe. Krakow, not the most difficult fights, but you definitely want to go in with much health. Unfortunately, taking one hit, not too big of a deal though. Going to be able to bounce back. Thomas doing the fire line fight with ball, which is a bit faster than using like the sword strategies, and using burning to get through the end of 5-5, quite a bit faster. Going into 5-6, which is a pretty basic stage. There's a tomato there if you need it, but typically you're just going to be grabbing wheel and just getting through there as fast as possible. So getting wheel right away as Todd getting hit once with Krakow and unfortunately getting hit again, but Krakow's at one more hit, so he should be able to wrap this up quickly. Just barely missing. There we go, and he gets it and grabs the wand. So Thomas moving on. Oh, he's moving on to Yoga Yard. Just as Thomas is actually just about to wrap up, doing some wheel movement here, and he's going to go for a mix. This mix is quite a bit easier than the wheel mixes he was doing earlier, because you simply just have to hold down A, because the hammer that appears is the first one. So as you see here, going to grab. Oh, unfortunately he misses, so he's going to leave and reset. You're going to grab two wheels at once, and there we go, hammer mix. So use that because the next boss you fight does give you hammer, but it takes a bit for it to get it. So it's faster just to do this mix, get hammer, have it right for the beginning of the fight. As you see, it's not going to shoot that missile for a while. Todd going through 5-1, you're doing the same stone strats, you save a lot of time. 5-1's pretty basic stage. As Thomas is going to be wrapping up with Yogurt Yard here, moving on to Orange Ocean. Pretty difficult world, that in World 7. Todd moving on to 5-2 here with the bonkers fight and ball. Bit of a longer stage as well, so we'll see how that goes. Thomas currently just going through right now. There's quite a few enemies in the water here in the beginning of Orange Ocean. We'll see if he's going to go for, I think there's a wheel mix in 6-1, or he's maybe going to go burning strats. I'm going to see what he does. Going to grab burning here. And, well, there's the wheel mix in 6-3, I know that. But grabbing burning here. Burning is really good for this level, allows you to get through quite a bit faster. Todd grabs ball. Also for burning, the invulnerability allows you to deal with these enemies a lot easier, because there's so many enemies on screen, as you can clearly see. So having an ability burning helps a ton. Todd going through 5-2 right now. Unfortunately, that pig kind of blocking him. Unfortunately, doesn't get hit. So he's about to move on to the bonkers fight. See how that goes for him. Thomas using burning right here. Going to taking that damage. Going to get the health back. So Todd taking the hit. Bonkers also at 1 health. And okay, he's going to be able to take him out. No problem. Playing safe here. Almost getting hit by that pig enemy. But thankfully not going to get hit and going to keep that health. Moving on to 7-3, as Thomas going through 6-2, right, or going on to 5-3. And so Thomas going to grab Tornado. Tornado is really good, and you're going to use it for most of Orange Ocean. It allows you to get through rooms pretty quickly and also safely, because you're invulnerable while it's active. So as you see, he's going to go through that. Todd going through 5-3 right now, getting high jump, and he'll switch to wheel in 2 rooms. 7-3 thankfully isn't, or 7-3, keep saying World 7. 5-3 Todd on isn't the most difficult stage. Although the next few can be a bit trickier. So Thomas, he's sticking with Tornado. I'm curious, is he going to go for the wheel mix? Grabs the 2 HP to have a bit more health back. No, he's just going to stick with Tornado, which makes sense. Again, in a race setting, it typically, some strategies you might go for in your PB runs, might not want to go for. Going to keep Tornado, going to deal with bonkers pretty quickly and just keep going as Todd's with wheel. About to finish up with 5-3. So losing it there, just trying to dodge the spikes here, not take too much damage. There is some health there if he wants it, but he's just going to go on forward to the next level. Thomas with Tornado, moving on to the end of 6-3. So Todd going into 5-4, grabbing burning, as Thomas finishing up with 7-3 and going to go into 7-4. A bit of a tricky level, some cycles you have to make in the sort of cavern section, so you need to be sort of quick with your timing. quite a few coconuts too. So if you don't play the game a lot, you might get caught off guard. But once you've played through this game quite a bit, you know where they are and you can avoid taking that damage. Todd going through the arena right now, keeping Spark actually, looking to use that to help do damage. It actually seems to be working out pretty nicely for him. Getting 2 enemies at once. So the Spark strat for Todd actually working out great. Good stuff to him. Is he going to keep Spark or is he going to go for the ball? We'll see that right now. He looks like he's going to go for ball. Oh, unfortunately getting hit, though, on it. That's really unfortunate. As I mentioned before with Thomas, that ball, its pattern's inconsistent, and it can sometimes jump off the edge or it can hit you, and you lose the ability. So he's going to go through the last bit of the stage a bit slower as Thomas going through with Tornado, about to finish up 6-4 and go into 6-5. Todd can use Spark for this section, a bit slower than Ball, but you can sort of keep it active, and at the very least, you won't be hit by any of the enemies, which is nice for him. So Thomas at 3 health, going through 6-5 right now. As Todd gonna be going through 5-5, keeping Tornado. Todd still with Spark. We'll see if he uses Spark for the Fire Lion fight, or if he does the sword route. Going through this section right there. Ooh, unfortunately getting hits, losing Spark. So it looks like he'll probably end up using sword for that Fire Lion fight. Grabbing the star there. Thomas finishing up 6-5. 6-5 is a pretty short stage. 6-6 is quite a bit more difficult, though. There's the UFO room, which is really inconsistent. There's a Meta Knight arena, and then you have the Meta Knight fight afterwards. So using a Tornado, getting through this UFO room pretty easily. Likely going to go for another double star strat for the freeze fights. As Todd able to take out the Fire Lion. Yep, going for the double star strat right there. Able to take out both of Mr. Freeze or Mr. Colt very, very easily. And going to move on to the Meta Knight arena. So only at 3 health. He'll likely soft reset after 6-6 to get health back for the Meta Knight fight. So as long as he doesn't take too much damage in this arena, he should be fine. Todd wrapping up Worlds 5, shortly going to be going into 5-6, which is a pretty easy stage overall. Not too much goes down. Is he going to keep burning, or is he going to grab wheel? Maybe he's going to... Okay, so he ditched burning. I'm going to grab one of these wheels, ideally. Got it right there. As Thomas going to be going into the Meta Knight fight. Okay, the soft resets there. Takes him a bit. Yeah, the Meta Knight fight can be pretty difficult, kind of inconsistent. So keeping at yourself at full health, especially because after Meta Knight fight, you have 7-2 coming up shortly after, which is probably one of the more difficult run-killing stages in the game. Todd wrapping up, getting a bit of a slow ending with 5-6. We'll see if he also goes for the wheel mix here. It looks like our stream layout just improved, actually, and we got some of the audio, which is nice. Tom was wrapping up Meta Knights, and yeah, Todd getting the wheel, or the hammer mix, going into fight. So Thomas currently in 7-1. Unfortunately, takes a hit and loses sword. Gonna grab another one. You're gonna grab the wheel for ball at the wheel mix, or not the mix for ball at the very end of 7-1. But getting hit again, unfortunately, in some not great patterns. As Todd just finishing off with only 1 health, just finishing off that boss, so clutching that out. Thomas not gonna grab that extra health. It takes a bit of time to go through those blocks. Just gonna go through as quickly as possible. Very fast movements through those blocks with the sword. Gonna go for this mix here. Ooh, that's actually a faster setup. I don't think I've seen that before. That's good stuff on him. It was a bit of a faster setup to get that ball mix. That's one of the easier mixes too, because again, similar to the hammer mix in 5-6, you just hold down A and you're able to get it. I didn't know that at first, and I lost a lot of runs to that, and it sucked. Once I learned that, it helped a lot. Todd entering Orange, Orange Ocean, I was gonna say Olive Ocean, as Thomas entering 7-2, the run killer, one of the most difficult and inconsistent stages. Unfortunately, gonna hit bonkers. He only has 3 health because he didn't grab the extra health, so we'll see how this goes for him. What makes 7-2 so difficult is that it's a boss rush stage. You have to use ball, which can be tricky to use, and little mistakes can be very, very punishing. Like if you lose ball or if you die, you're gonna lose a lot of time on this stage. But it seems like he's doing very well right now. Still has 3 health, getting the first 3 bosses very quickly. So in the last one, the fire line, pretty easy as well, one of the easier ones, and no problem there. Thomas easily able to get through 7-2, which is great. Todd moving on to 6-2. Got Sword right now, which can help him deal with some of these enemies. We'll see if he grabs Tornado as well in 6-2, which is going to be really useful for the rest of Orange Ocean. Not only speeding it up, but also just making the world quite a bit easier. Knocking down that crash enemy so he doesn't get the animation and the damage from that. Now it's too big for my eyes. Okay. So, yep. We're gonna grab High Jump here. See if it grabs Tornado, but this allows this one section to go down a bit faster. Thomas keeping Burning. Once you go through the boss rush, you ditch Ball and grab Burning, so it allows you to get through this area a bit faster. So there's a bunch of the bird enemies right here. You're gonna have to carefully sort of float his way through here. Todd does grab Tornado. Unfortunately, he takes a hit. Oh, and he loses it. Really unfortunate for him, honestly, that he got hit, but also that he was above an area where the ability just fell. I don't know if there actually is a Tornado backup. If there's another Tornado in like 7-3. Let's see. Or what his strategy will be. Thomas finishing up 7-3. So definitely getting close to the end here, actually. So Todd goes into 7-3 with Sword. See if he grabs the extra health, or if he just... Nope, just going to go... We're getting hit again. He's going to grab Burning. Okay, so he's going to go for Burning strats on Bonkers. I've done this before in the past. If you don't have Tornado, it can work. So, Burning's not great for Bonkers, but Burning's definitely good if you don't have Tornado for the rest of Orange Ocean. Tom's taking a few hits here in this... in 7-4, there's a whole ton of enemies in a lot of narrow spaces, so it's very easy to get hit, so you need to be conscious of your health, make sure you don't accidentally die. But it seems like he's maneuvering pretty well as Todd going through 6-3 with Burning right now. Unfortunately, getting another hit on Thomas's end. Now down to 1 health, so we'll see if he maybe takes an intentional death right here, or nope, not gonna take the intentional death. Just gonna be very careful. Likely soft reset at the end here. There's a few Gordos here you'll have to be careful about. Yeah, doing some safer strats here to make sure he doesn't hit. Fortunately, Todd I just missed that, taking a death right at the very end of the stage, unfortunately. Thankfully, not a game over, but it will be a bit of a time loss. Orange Ocean, honestly, I find Orange Ocean to be a very, very punishing stage, especially for beginners, because there's so many, almost seemingly random enemies and such. It's like Thomas trying to soft reset here. There we go, gets there. Maybe some struggles in the inputs. As Todd's also going to soft reset to get some health back. Going into 6-4, which is a bit of a slow stage, unfortunately, without Tornado, but he'll have to manage. Thomas grabbing Crash here, which is going to make this wheel fight a lot easier. Puts him down to 1 health, and then you'll grab one of his wheel enemies. Okay, getting it. Sometimes that wheel can be stubborn, and if it gives you bad patterns, you can lose some time. So he's going to go for the wheel jumps here. This is a lot faster than just floating, although it can be very difficult, and it's really important to keep wheel for 7-6, because it makes it a lot faster. Barely dodging those burning enemies. Very close on Thomas's end, but he manages to get through. Really clutch stuff on his end. Barely managing to get through there. Todd getting close to wrapping up with 6-4, dodging those coconuts. And about to go into 6-5 is Thomas entering the last regular level in the game, which goes, one of my personal favorites, goes a lot faster with wheel, thankfully, because it's a pretty long level and it's very horizontal, not a whole lot of platforming, so wheel makes it go a lot faster. And then there's one more mix at the end for ball mix for DD. We'll see if Thomas goes for it in a second, or in a bit. Todd going through 6-5 right now, dodging some of these ice enemies. Still at full health right now, so in a good situation, because I think he soft reset at the beginning of this. Thomas going for some of these wheel jumps, takes a bit of memorization to know what the best pattern is to get through this section with wheel. It can be, this area in particular, as you see in this cave area, the spikes can be very tricky without, you need to practice that a lot, and the cloud section too. Completely, kind of funny, this area is completely remodeled after Kirby's Dreamland, as far as I know, and both these players are really good Kirby's Dreamland speedrunners. Todd wrapping up with 6-5 as Thomas gets the ball mix. So he's been pretty consistent with his mixes overall so far for this run. He missed the one mix in 4-1, but I think he's hit almost every other one. Todd going into 6-6, one of the most difficult stages in the game in my opinion. There's a double boss fight. Unfortunately, getting hit by the spark right there. As Thomas going into DD right now, you're gonna see the power of Ball here in a second. Oh, unfortunately, getting hit. But you're gonna see how quickly Ball can deal with. Getting hit again, unfortunately. Definitely a powerful ability. You can do a lot of damage very quickly, but you need to be very close. Getting sucked up there. Unfortunately, getting some bad DD patterns, but able to finish him off right there. Todd gonna grab UFO here, which is a good backup. Gonna grab the tomato too, so he keeps out of a good amount of health. If you don't have tornado, grabbing the UFO here is a good strategy to deal with double boss fights. Thomas about to enter Nightmare here, so in the home stretch, this first part of the Nightmare fight is pretty much just spamming, like just button mashing, getting through the orb part as fast as possible, and the wizard is a set pattern where you just need to be able to deal with that, or you just need to know his pattern and be able to deal with that accordingly. Todd using UFO to deal with the double boss fight. I'm gonna keep it. Unfortunately, getting hit right there. Thomas dealing with finishing up with the orb, now going into the wizard. So in the home stretch, looks like he's definitely on 41 pace, actually, which would be great. I think it would be, not PB, but still like a really, really good race time. Todd finishing up with 6-6 is a good amount of health for this Meta Knight arena. That's going to be pretty difficult, honestly. There's so many enemies, and the room's pretty narrow. Then he's going to go into the Meta Knight fight, and then into World 7. Thomas entering Wizard fight now, so we'll see those go through. Todd actually only at 1 health. Okay, he doesn't get hit, so he's able to get through his level. So as I mentioned, the wizard fight that Thomas is on right now, the patterns are completely set. So ideally, you get all 6 hits and you get a fast pattern. If you do miss some hits, you will have to have a few extra cycles. But it seems like he's hitting everything so far right now. There's a few tricky ones, but it seems pretty good. Todd going to soft reset, and then going into the Meta Knight fight. Pretty difficult because Meta Knight, he can block randomly. It's kind of a very random fight, so you just want to sort of hope for good patterns and hope that he doesn't block too many of your hits. Not doing doing pretty good overall. Thomas 1 hit away from being done now at this point, just missing it, but he has another chance, and unfortunately he does miss it. So missing a bit of a cycle, but he's gonna have a chance to finish it up here, and finishing with a 41-48, so is able to get the 41 time. Good stuff to Thomas, honestly, really good time. Yeah, it's only actually, I just checked, it's only 33 seconds behind his PB, so for a race, that's honestly really, really fantastic. So good stuff to Thomas. Todd entering World 7 here, got Sword, gonna be just going through this block maze. Unfortunately, the block's gonna slow him down. Even if he getting hit by the burning enemy right there, he's gonna just ditch Sword. And he's going to be approaching 7-2, which is... 7-2 is maybe not the most difficult stage in the game, but it's definitely one of the biggest run killers, because a lot can go wrong. Unfortunately, Todd, okay, he accidentally sucks up the stone enemy, so it looks like he's going to take the intentional death so we can go for the mix again. So he's going to wait till they're close together, and there you go, gets it, no problem. So going to have Ball, and going to be entering the... Going to be entering 7-2 shortly. So I'm looking at Todd right now. So he's at 43 minutes right now. His PB is at 52-30. So I'm wondering if Todd actually still might be on PB pace. I don't see his stream, so I don't know how ahead or behind he is. But 9.5 minutes to finish up World 7 might be realistic. So Todd actually could be on PB pace potentially. I'm not entirely sure. Unfortunately, getting hit by Fan right there, getting a bad pattern. Fan actually just jumping right at him, getting hit again. Yeah, 7-2 is honestly one of the most punishing, not beginner-friendly stage. Unfortunately, getting hit again. As you can see, not only does he get hit, but the pattern of Fan's doing, there's a lot of end line to it. Like, it takes some time for him to finish up the animation, which costs more time. 2 more fights left. Still have 3 health, so not bad. The Fire Lion fight isn't too difficult. Oh, unfortunately, he accidentally exhales and breaks his ball ability, and unfortunately takes a death to Bugsy, so he's gonna have to go through this regularly now. He's got no lives left. There's a lot of lives at the end of 7-1 though, or 7-2 in case he wants to reset as well. So Bugsy's pretty slow without power, so you need to wait for him to typically do 2 regular charge attacks, and then you'll let out 2 of his little mini Bugsies, and it takes 4 hits to hit him. So ideally you can do it in 2 cycles, but to get to hit in 1 cycle with both of those bug enemies is pretty difficult, honestly. And you can grab Backdrop after this to help make the Fire Lion fight a bit faster. So finishing off with, actually not going to grab Bugsy right there, just going to go into Fire Lion fight regularly. So gonna wait for the stars from when the Fire Lion jumps, and then shoot him back at him. Getting hit right there, bit of slow animation. So two hits left for this fight. Getting hit again. Unfortunately, if he dies here, you'll have to go to the very beginning. Oh, he's at 1 health left. So this is very risky for Todd. If he dies here, you'll have to go to you'll let a game over. You'll have to go back to the very beginning of 7-2. Okay, 1 health. Oh, he misses that shot, unfortunately. This is intense. Okay, 1 hit left, and he'll be in the clear. He just needs to hold on for a bit longer and get 1 more good hit. Because if he dies, there's going to be a pretty big time loss on his end. So we'll see how this goes for him. And he gets it, so no problem there. Good stuff to Todd, managing to clutch that out. Gonna grab an extra health, or extra 1-up right there. And there's a max tomato at the end of 7-2, so he's gonna be able to get up to a good amount of health. So 7-3 isn't a terribly difficult stage. There's a bit of tight platforming in a few areas. You're gonna grab the tomato there. It's pretty important because you don't want to keep going with only 1 health. Sorry about that. I had to do a work-related thing real quick. So Todd grabbing Burning, and he's got the invincibility, allowing him to get through 7-3 very quickly. So only a couple more stages left for him. All right, getting through there, no problem at all. 7-4 is a 7-4 is a bit more of a tricky stage, honestly. There's a lot of enemies and a lot of narrow corridors, so it's very easy to take damage very quickly. He's got Burning. Towards the beginning, this could be helpful to burst right through some enemies. Looks like he's doing pretty good. The tornado just dodging it. Good stuff to Todd, just barely getting through that room, not taking any damage, so really good stuff on his end. And unfortunately getting hit right there, as you can see, with the random enemies patterns in these narrow spots, it's very hard to go through these rooms without taking any damage. But it looks like Todd's doing a really good job right now, actually. There's not too much health available for the rest of Rainbow Route. So if you run out of health, you'll either have to soft reset or take an intentional death, which is also one of the reasons that makes this stage a bit more difficult. So he grabs Spark there, but loses it. Taking quite a bit of damage. Spark is the strategy typically for 7-3, so you get through it a bit faster, or 7-4 to get through it a bit faster. Oh, unfortunately, he gets hit by the Waddle Dee right there. He got dealt with all the other enemies, but getting hit 1 time there. Thankfully, back at full health. They're gonna knock out the crash enemy, so he doesn't have to deal with the long animation of that enemy. So going through these Gordos right now and about to wrap up 7-4. Then he's got 7-5, the wheel level, and 7-6, the throwback level, before going on to the final boss fights. So Todd doesn't have any extra lives right now, so gonna be in a bit of a scary situation if he does take a death. So he'll have to be careful. Grabbing Crash here, gonna avoid the Crash recoil on the other enemies. So we grab Crash here so we can deal a lot of damage right away to this wheel boss. It puts him at 1 health, or it puts him in a range of dying at 1 more hits. Unfortunately, Todd getting a really bad pattern with the wheel. some not great RNG for him. Okay, there he gets the attack and he's able to deal with it. But yeah, ideally after that first crash, the wheel will just go to one side and we'll spit out an enemy and deal with it. Oh, very risky situation. And okay, unfortunately he loses wheel, which but he didn't take the death, thankfully, so he doesn't have to deal with the gonna grab burning as a good backup there, which makes sense. Yeah, trying to do wheel jumps in this room is very tricky. The slower but safer strategy is to sort of float around the top and to hopefully dodge the burning enemies, but it can be a bit difficult. Todd gonna wait out that burning enemy so he doesn't get hit. And gonna use burning for 7-6. So 7-6 with burning is definitely slower than wheel, but it's a lot better still than having to deal with it powerless. So one more regular level left for him. Gonna be going through with burning. Fortunately, gonna get there. Not gonna grab burning. So it looks like he will be doing most of this powerless. It's a pretty long level actually. He's got 10 rooms, 2 rooms for each of the 5 levels from Kirby's Dreamland. As I mentioned, it's kind of funny because both Todd and Thomas are actually really high level Kirby's Dreamland runners. So Todd on the castle low section, finishing that up, and now going to beach level. Forget. Actually, no. There's only 8 rooms. There's not 10 rooms. I'm wrong. There's no level. There's no rooms for level 5 in Kirby's Dreamland because it's just a boss rush. Anyways, Todd getting through the spike section. It's a pretty narrow corridor, so it's easy to take a lot of damage if you're not careful. In this room, that based off bubbly clouds, a lot of the enemies just sort of float there. And again, if you haven't played this game a lot, you might not be prepared for those patterns, and they kind of home into where you are, which is annoying. So at 2 health, 0 lives right now. So gotta make careful that he isn't taking a death at the very end of this level. I don't know if he'll go for ball mix or if he'll grab like cutter or grab ball from 7-4 or what his strategy will be. Looks like he's just gonna finish level regularly, and we'll see what he opts to go for this DDD fight. Okay, gonna go for the soft reset there. You get a lot of health back plus some extra lives. Which makes sense. You don't want to go into DDD with only like 2 health. And he's just gonna grab ball here. So yeah, ball is definitely the fastest way to deal with DDD, although it is difficult because the spacing you need to get close to him and do damage is kind of tight. So we'll see how this goes for him. Unfortunately, getting hit right off the bat. Okay, so DD's about half health, so doing pretty good right now. He gets all of his health back at the end of the fight, thankfully, so he doesn't really need to worry about conserving health. DD almost KO, just needs a bit more. That'll do it. Okay, so able to get through DD, no problem. So unfortunately, he's not going to be able to PB in this race. I think 52:30 is his PB, but still going to be able to close out this run and potentially like a 54 pace, depending on how the end of Nightmare goes. So yeah, for the first fight of Nightmare, the orb face, it's pretty much like a side-scrolling shooter. A lot of these Kirby games have a section like this at the end. I know Amazing Mirror does, Kirby 64 does. So it's really just mashing and dodging the patterns. So all the patterns for this ball Nightmare compared to a lot of the enemy patterns are actually completely consistent, so they're always the same. So thankfully, it's just once you've memorized them, you're able to deal with it and dodge the hits a lot better. So he's going to charge right here. Todd's going to dodge it, and almost down here, very close to being done. A few more hits, and you'll be moving on to the wizard fight, and he's good. So moving on to the wizard fight here, 3 health. Wizard fight is, again, the pattern for it is very consistent. It does these same hits every time. So ideally, you can get the first 6 hits and finish them off quickly, but it can be a bit tricky if you miss a few hits and you miss a few cycles. You can lose some time. He's got 3 health left. If he does die, thankfully, he will only go back to the beginning of the wizard fight. He won't have to go back and do the orb again. So we'll see how this goes for Todd if he can close out this run. So missing the first hit, unfortunately, it's a bit tricky. The second one's a bit easier, so we'll see how that goes. And he gets it. Getting that one too. So 4 left. He's gonna block for a bit, and then he's gonna release some attacks. And unfortunately, Todd aimed a bit too high. Thankfully, at the very least, he hasn't taken a hit yet, so he's not really at serious risk of getting KO'd. Only 4 more hits left in the wizard form. All right, 3 hits left for him now. So I don't know if he can get a 54, but he can get a 55 time. Getting that hit now. So 2 hits left for Todd. Very close. He actually might be able to barely clutch out a 54. We'll see if he can get these last few hits. So Wizard's going to charge up. Fortunately, he just misses. Some of the timing for these hits can actually be pretty tough unless you regularly practice it. So not going to be able to get a 54. Can still get a 55 time, though. 1 hit left. Todd still has 2 hits. He still has 2 health. And, barely missing that. Very unfortunate for him. 1 more hit left, and he'll be done here. There we go. Good stuff. So 55-16 for Great Todd. So only a few minutes behind his PB. And I know in a race setting, that's not very uncommon at all. So good stuff to him. And good stuff to Thomas as well, who's only actually, I think, roughly 30 seconds behind his PB. A really good race time. So good stuff from both of these players. Okay, Thomas saying his real PB is actually a 40-33, which is really good. Anyways, so... Alright, yeah, emulator not allowed for sub 41, rip. So, don't know if we'll be doing actually any interviews. I don't know if I can send out the link, or if either of the 2 runners did want to hop on for an interview, or if they can jump in the speedrunning chat. So don't think we'll be doing the interview. I have to hop off myself actually because I have to go to work. So glad I was able to commentate this race. Good race to both Thomas and GreatToddman. Really fun to commentate. And thanks everyone for watching. And I believe we have another race coming up shortly. I'd have to check the schedule out.